here, we're with Fresh Coast Gaming. We're interviewing some of our favorite designers, game companies, etc. at GenCon. This is Dave. He's owner and director of Hawk Games. Sorry about that. And he's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on for Drop Zone Commander, Drop Fleet. That's what it's called right now, right?
Yeah, it's called Drop Fleet. Everyone's been calling it Drop Fleet all year, so we're using it now. It's Drop Fleet because you Google Drop Fleet and we're all over it, so that's it, it's Drop Fleet.
And then we'll talk a little bit about, obviously, some of the things that are on sale here at GenCon, also new stuff. So if we want to start off, we can look at the display case here.
Yeah, so we're showing off a lot of new stuff for Drop Zone here. There's a ton of new codes out. There's new infantry releases for all 5 factions, at least 2 of each. Some of them have got 3. You've got stuff like, I don't know, are you going to film the cabinets or? Yeah, so we've got stuff like the PHR have the Immortal Long Reach team, anti-tank / snipers, anti-material rifles, very scary, long range support infantry. Then you've got the Valkyrie team, they're jump infantry, great for jumping between buildings and stuff like that. They give the PHR a bit of much needed speed with infantry.
Oh sure, yeah.
Then you've got the Medusa. She's kind of Deus Ex Machina. She's floating on a horde of drones that she can control with her mind. She's like 1 in a million, sweeping tanks out of the way and killing men in buildings and stuff. She's very powerful, but you can only have a maximum of 2 of them in your army.
Okay.
And the Triton X, which is a special dropship that goes with her.
Is it X because it's?
Yeah, it's got the drone hives on the side. And,
okay.
There's the Triton A, Triton B, so Triton X for this one because it's like a specialist kind of, like Black Project sort of thing. Then for the Scourge, we've got the Eviscerators, which are out and out, without a doubt, the scariest close combat troops in the game, and bar none. But they're incredibly expensive and they're hugely scary. They don't do anything else though. They just do close combat, but they're fantastic. Then you've got the Vampires, which are the little flying ones there. The Vampires can latch onto your other dropships. They can hitch a lift, so they don't need a dropship of their own.
Are they creatures, or are they?
Yeah, they're creatures. They're another Scourge host. Then they can like leap off the dropships and attack. They're like flying prowlers, so they're fantastic at anti-air. They're not hugely powerful, but they're cheap and they're very easy to just like fill up the last 50 points in your list. Put a few of them in.
That's one thing that I think most of us playing in our group we put together a list and we get to 1,010 points or like 970 points, and we're like, oh man.
Yeah, we're working on stuff like that, and the Vampires are part of that. And the last one for the Scourge is a big one. It's the Screamer and the Raider dropship. The Screamer is horrible, so another Scourge bioform, a really, really big one. That thing emits all sorts of beam, like EM waves and sound to just disorientate and upset people. So you get enemy infantry that just like cower in the corner and like cry and shiver when it's around. It can also rip tanks to pieces with its claws, which is nice. And the dropship it comes with, the Beast, the Tadpole, the Raider. That thing has 2 acid streamers on the side, so that's flame weapons.
Is he going to be able to carry other?
He will be at some point. At the moment it's just a Screamer, but it took me a long time, so I'd like to use that dropship for other things too.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's an interesting design. It took me a while to nail it down because it's a flying cage for creatures and stuff like that. So that's where we'll see it used in future. Yeah, so then for the UCM, we've got the mortar teams, which people already know about. They're just generally useful kind of shooty infantry. The flak teams, which are the AA versions of those. They do what they say on the tin, really.
Do they stay on the ground, or do they go?
They shoot from the walls in buildings.
Okay.
Yeah. If you keep them in the open, they'll just die like any other infantry. And then you've got the hazard suits at the back, which are like big, heavy, like works suits that have been kitted out with railguns. So they're very powerful, long-range anti-tank infantry. Very hard to kill. Not very fast. Terrible in close combat, but they have their uses.
And they stay in buildings as well.
Yeah.
Like normal infantry.
Yeah. And then for the Shautari, we've got the Ronin, which are the tall walkers at the back there. They're actually vehicles rather than infantry, but they're like big war suits / tiny walkers. Very annoying. They've got the Alpha Strike rule, which means they can go first and in front of everything else on the board. We're going to actually, the forum we've listened to some feedback on that one, and there's going to be a small disadvantage if you want to use that rule.
Okay.
And they're going to get a little slower than the current beta rules are. But they're still going to be fantastic, very annoying, powerful little fast units. We've also got the Pungari auxiliaries as well, which are the opposite of Shoutari in that they're slavishly devoted to their masters. They're not very good, but there's lots and lots of them.
Are those guys the ape-ish guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're little like pachyderms, kind of little elephantine.
Awesome.
They've got little mean little faces, and you can imagine them kind of going.
Right.
And you get 8 bases in the blister, and they're the worst infantry in the game. They're like CKB 0.5, armor 1, but they're really, really cheap.
Okay.
And they're a fantastically good wound sink. That's what they're good for. They're not bad shooting either, just because of the sheer volume of them. They're pretty cool for that. The Resistance have got the attack ATVs, which are either anti-tank mortar quad bikes. They've also got chem rounds, so they can seed buildings with chemical weapons to disrupt enemy infantry and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. There's also a scout variant that we're working on for those, which are the unpainted ones back there. So that's the quads for the Resistance.
Do they have the evasion like free riders?
They do, but they're not quite as evasive as free riders.
They're bigger.
They're also they can't go in buildings at all. They have to stay outside the whole time. We'll have the rules up for those fairly soon. Then last off for Drop Zone, we've got the second wave of characters. So the other half of the special characters. So we've got General Wade's broadsword, which is an enormous tank, the longest tank we've ever built. It's not as wide as the Alexander and not as tall, but it's longer.
It does look reminiscent of the Alexander, right?
Yeah, well, in a way that it's a big tank, but the Alexander's kind of bristling with different weapons. This just has one big gun. That's it. Very UCM, very clean, very efficient at what it does. Then we've got Cave Breaker at the back for the Scourge. It's an Annihilator with a canopy and extra engines on the leg. Then you've got Ramses, High War Chief Ramses at the back for the Shoutari. He's got a kind of a crest and a sonic cannon on the back. There's Gunnar's Lift Hawk there. He's missing the flamer turret on the back.
Okay.
We forgot to bring it.
Right.
But he's got new guns at the front, a completely new sculpt, new wings, he's got a crossed cookeries on the hull and an infantry pod underneath, extra missile pods, extra new canopy. I spent ages on that model. I really, really like it.
You design every model?
Yeah, all the vehicles. I don't do the infantry anymore. I art direct on those. And last off, we've got Bertha, the enormous drill for Jesse Adams at the back there. That's one of the biggest models we've ever done. Absolutely huge.
Looks awesome.
Those will all be out. I think they're out in September.
Okay.
Characters. And then the other big thing here, obviously, is actually the last thing for Drop Zone is the new hardback, which is a limited edition hardback version of the original book. It's been completely reworked with new format, new style, and most importantly, a lot of artwork.
Yeah,
because originally it was just me doing 1.1, all the content. But
you did the art too?
There wasn't any art.
Oh, okay.
I did all the photography. So the original book's full of colour images, and it's all photography of miniatures. But I'm not a very good 2D artist, whereas Patrice is fantastic.
Yeah, and the art really helps new players get into the universe, understand what's going on, what it's like to be there.
It's the book that I always wanted the original book to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new touches, things like the infantry pages for each race. So there are now information on kit that they have, 4-page artwork for every single infantry choice.
Awesome.
The Scourges, your Razor Worms, and
look at that guy.
Warrior. Yeah, that's what a Scourge Warrior looks like. They lose all their pigmentation and everything and sweat profusely, so pretty nasty looking things. Then you've got what a Scourge actually looks like. Is there. There's one on an operating table.
Oh man.
No, so this is hardback. It has 20 more pages, new format, new page style. It's the best book we've done so far. I think it's limited to 1,500 copies, so pre-order yours. They'll be gone quite quick.
Available online?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be online. We had some here at GenCon. We've got about 5 left, I think, something like that. So hopefully they'll be gone by the end of the day.
We have the Resistance.
Oh yeah, the Battle Bus, the double-decker, show-only model for this year.
Looks great. I bought one because I play Resistance. I'm excited to get that guy on the board.
The other big thing we're doing here is Drop Fleet. Drop fleet with people have seen the UCM ships before, but we're showing off the Scourge ships for the first time here. These are the Scourge cruisers, shows the modularity of the kit. So there you've got a mothership, a light cruiser, a heavy cruiser, and a standard cruiser. All with interchangeable weapons, different options. They're also posable as well, so see the one on the right has the fins kind of outwards, and that one has the fins kind of inwards. So you can achieve quite a different look just by what you want to do with the ship, you know, posable ships, which is quite nice, you know, I think. It took me forever, they're the worst models I've ever had to CAD, they were just horrible, they took me ages, but I'm really happy with the end result, so...
They look amazing. And what material are these going to be produced in?
These will be injection molded plastic.
Okay, awesome.
The big ships, like the dreadnoughts and the battleships, will be resin. There might be the occasional white metal ships, maybe the really small ones. Certain tokens and stuff might end up being resin. Yeah, that's a big scale up of the UCM battleship. No extra detail added, it's just a 5-up. It's 3D printed, but it gives you the idea of the level of detail that I put into the miniatures.
And so I'm a Resistance player, of course I have to say. What am I going to do in Drop Fleet? Do I play UCM?
The Resistance aren't going to be a playable faction in Drop Fleet. You know, they don't have the resources for a whole fleet.
Right.
But there will be Resistance ships.
Really?
I mean, I would say they're not. It's kind of wrong to call them Resistance because there'll be ships that try to escape during the invasion, and instead of having anywhere to go, they just would jump to somewhere random. You know, they're just like hell, just anywhere but here. And they just jumped away to somewhere. So you're going to have like, think Battlestar Galactica really. So you're going to have fleet with like civilian ships, maybe 1 or 2 like aging military ships in amongst them all. And
really?
They've been living in space for 200 years. And then, you know, when the nodes start coming back on the Cradle Worlds, they might jump back to find out what's happening and jump into the middle of a war zone. So they're going to be kind of objectives.
Okay.
You know, they might have a playable element in certain scenarios, but they're not going to be a full-on faction.
So I would probably play UCM helping out my Resistance guys.
A Resistance player would play UCM, yeah.
I see. And the last thing, we've taken up quite a bit of your time, I really appreciate it.
No, that's cool.
The last thing that I noticed when I first walked up was the app. Can you tell us a little bit about the app?
So the screen on the left is supposed to be on a rolling slideshow, but I didn't know how to make it run all round. It's not my pad, I'm an iOS user.
I see.
But the one on the right gives you an idea. So the app is for Drop Zone, it's going to be out in about a month. On there you've got all the core stats of everything from all the books, all the betas, everything all together. On that app you'll be able to search for any of those, you'll be able to add units to your list, so you've got a quick reference during tournaments. You can also search for rules terms, all the core rules are on there by default. There's an in-app purchase available for fully digitized versions of the books.
Okay.
If you want the whole book with all the background and the artwork and everything, you can get that. That'll all be searchable and keyed, so not just a big PDF, you know, reworked. And also there's some other cool features. There's Find My Gamer for Find a Gamer. So you can say, I play Drop Zone, I'm willing to travel this far for a game. Other players can do the same and you can find people to play against. Retailers can put in where they're from. So you know where your local stockist is. So yeah, we've been working on the app for about a year and nearly out. So yeah, it should be out in about a month.
And how do I get that?
You'll be able to download it from, I think it's going to end up on iTunes for the iOS version, and however Android apps.
Google Play?
Yeah, I admit I don't actually know how Android. I'm a Apple person, so I'm kind of wedded to it.
Is it free? Do you pay to get the base version?
You'll pay for the base version.
Okay.
And the books will be heavily discounted on it if you already own the app.
Sure.
If you don't own the app and you don't want the app, but you do want the ebooks, you can still get those.
Cool.
So there's several options to get hold of the content.
Sorry, go ahead, Will.
While playing, can you track damage points in the app?
At the moment, no, but we are going to look to add functionality to it in the future.
I have one last question, and then we'll let you go. It's been really awesome. What kind of scale, not 10 millimeter or whatever, what kind of scale is the Drop Fleet going to be?
Drop Fleet is 0.1 mil scale, so it's exactly 100 times smaller than Drop Zone. Okay. So it's really kind of easy to equate the two together.
And so how many ships am I going to have on like a standard game when we play?
A typical game is going to be maybe 1 or 2 big ships, probably probably one, realistically. Between 4 and 8 cruisers, and between about 5, 6 to 10 frigates-ish, something like that. That's a vague idea.
Do we use fighters, or are they kind of an attack that ship does?
There are fighters, there are bombers, torpedoes.
And they're little models, or?
Tokens, generally.
Okay, tokens.
We'll probably have little models as well.
I see.
You know, for players who want little models instead of tokens.
Right.
They won't be mandatory, but if you want to use them, you can use them. You know.
And one of the things that I know is, that I've heard about is kind of the campaign system where you start off with drop fleet, right?
Yeah, there's going to be I would describe it as a soft link between the two.
Okay.
Because it can't be really definitive because the scales are so different. You know, like one of those strike carriers carries 100 dropships, 300 tanks. So you can't have a kind of, this will equate to exactly this many units on the ground. So, but it will be, say, play a game of drop fleet, this is going to affect the next game of drop zone that you play. Drop zone will represent like the crucial element of a larger battle, which is what it does anyway, you know, but that's how we'll be working it. But there will be an official link between the two games.
That's awesome.
You know.
And I have 2 more questions. Is this going to advance the story of Drop Zone, or how's that going to work?
Well, phase 2 will advance the story of Drop Zone.
Okay.
I'm working on phase 2 as soon as this is done.
Okay.
At the moment, the campaign, slash book for Drop Fleet opens around the same time as phase 1 does. So there's a lot of it's around Olympus Prime, which is where there's an enormous fleet battle going on at the current moment in the narrative. But it will open new things up, because I've talked about what's going on in space a bit, not very much, and obviously Drop Fleet will elaborate on that a lot. Each expansion for Drop Fleet will advance the storyline at roughly the same pace as the Drop Zone expansions do. So, you'll see how that will work.
That'll be concurrent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I can't do too many books all at once, but I'll do my best to keep them updated, and we want to keep that storyline running, and I've got years worth of plans, so it's just a case of me actually doing it.
And so, one last question: how has your GenCon experience been? What is it like to be here? You put your life into this lately. So, what is it like?
GenCon's cool. Like, I think it gets easier every year. This is our 3rd GenCon now, and I actually look forward to it now. Like the first one, you're kind of like, oh god, it's GenCon. I've never done GenCon before.
Right.
Every show has its own little peculiarities that you learn, and certain things you do and you don't do, and you make your mistakes early, and as you go, you improve, and the booth layout gets better, and we have a lot more people to help us, which is.
Sorry, so you were saying GenCon, this is your 3rd time. It's easier this time.
Yeah, it does. It gets easier each time. It's always hard work, GenCon, because it's a long day, and it's 4 of them. So you get Groundhog Day syndrome. It's like, here we are, day 4.
Same thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, but we get out and we know more and more people each year that we come here, so we have people to see in the evenings and stuff, and we have fun, we have drinks, we eat, and it's cool. It's more and more enjoyable each time. I feel less apprehensive, and I look forward to it. It's really cool, and it's mainly the pain and suffering is the run-up to GenCon rather than the actual show, because I'm here and I get to show people all the stuff I've been working on. But before GenCon, it's finishing all that stuff off. So, for example, the big ship, we were painting that until 1 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday in the hotel room. We had one of the demo guys brought us an airbrush to paint with, which is awesome. So I was working on that, and the Scourge cruisers were assembled on the floor of GenCon on Thursday morning. I was putting the last pieces on at 10 when people started coming in. So every year it's the same, and I did a lot of all-nighters and late nights and stuff, and my fiance didn't see me very much 2 weeks before show. Every big show is like that, because we always like to show off a ton of new stuff.
That's why we come here.
Yeah, GenCon is one of those shows. GenCon, Salute, Spiel, those are our 3 big ones every year, and we always like to have new stuff to show off at them, to give people a reason to come to these shows, to come and see us and see what we're working on, and chat to me and the rest of the team.
We should mention the tournament sold out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is another thing. This is one of those GenCon things. Like we've run the tournament for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's sold out in a day, all 3 times. Every year we're like, GenCon. So we've sold out the last 2 years. Can we have some more people, please? And they're like, no. They're like,
Adepticon.
hopefully next year, GenCon, anyone, if you're listening, please give us more people next year, because I think we could easily do like a 40, 50 man tournament and fill it up, without too much problems. We had a lot of people who wanted to play this year and couldn't, and it's ultimately we have to keep whinging at GenCon, and they'll give us more space next year. So he's hoping the next year's tournament is bigger.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dave. Safe travel to you and your whole crew.
Thank you very much.
It's awesome talking to you.
Have a good show.
Yeah, check us out on the YouTube. We'll have this up very soon.
Thank you.